welcome to our first class on Linux operating system. Today we shall be looking into the Linux operating system and answering such questions as what is Linux, why Linux, and outlining some applications of the Linux operating system. Lastly, we shall consider the steps to installing a Linux operating system from scratch till it's up and running. Let's get started. The Linux operating system in a simple terminology can be defined as a Unix clone developed by Linus Torvalds in the early 90s. Like every other operating system, Linux provides 5 key functions in a computer system: application platform, hardware moderator, data storage, security, and connectivity. It is imperative to note also that the Linux operating system is composed of the following components: the Linux kernel, libraries, utilities, and user interface. The Linux kernel is the heart of Linux. That is, the kernel is the operating system itself. It provides the functionalities outlined previously. Libraries are pre-written code elements that can be used by application programmers in their programs. Linux libraries make it easy for programmers to incorporate functionalities into their applications without having to rewrite the code from scratch. Utilities, as the name implies, are a variety of utilities that can be used to complete system management tasks, such as maintaining file system, editing text files, managing processes, and installing software packages. User interface, of course, provides a means for end users to interact with the Linux kernel. The Linux consists of the command line interface and the graphical user interface. The Linux operating system has become a mainstay and a popular name in the server room for many organizations in the world. There are a wide variety of networking services available in Linux, which can be used to configure Linux to perform similar networking roles played by other server operating systems. Also, it has penetrated into the mobile industry in the form of Android, and in most cases replacing mobile operating systems from Windows and Apple. Also, Linux can be deployed on desktops. There are tons of open source desktop applications available for end users on Linux, which are free. Other applications of Linux operating systems include virtualization, cloud computing, and embedded systems. To cap it up, we shall be delving straight into installing a Linux operating system from scratch till it's up and running. Thank you. Okay, the first step to installing your Ubuntu operating system, that is the Linux Ubuntu operating system, is to get a bootable CD or you create a live USB stick. So I believe you can Google creating live USB stick and then you find several links to how to download Linux live USB application. So having done that, for this video I'll show you how to use the Linux live USB application to create a USB stick, a bootable USB stick, for which distribution will be loaded and thereafter installed into the system. So I've launched the Lily live USB disk creator. So this is the Lily live USB creator, and this is what we have here. This is the interface, the application interface on the screen. At this particular point, you select the source, the USB key. So here I have, this is my USB key drive. Okay, it's already named my live USB key. So you select your USB stick and then you choose the source, the file source. So I'm going to select ISO image file for the operating system. Here, navigate to where your file is stored and check. So for the sake of this video, you can see what I have on my system. I have Ubuntu 18.04. I have Peppermint. So there are several distributions of Linux that you can install for your desktop application. So this is so for the sake of this video, I'm going to select Ubuntu 18.0, although I'll be running Ubuntu 16.0 for the video. So having selected that, upload that on your screen. So you can see it's making progress till it's fully uploaded into your application. All right, my USB is ready to be converted into a bootable stick. So I'm going to set the persistent mode here. So I'll set this persistent mode to the maximum persistent mode that we can have. So I'm using 4090 megabytes. So that's like 4 gig of virtual memory that will be used as RAM for the operating system to be loaded into this USB stick. So you can decide to hide the created files on the key and then format the file. Of course, if you're selecting this option, it means you're going to have to back up the files you have in there or remove any file you'll be needing that is already on the USB stick. Then enable launching the live USB in Windows. Okay, you can as well highlight this, although this requires internet, so I'm going to leave that to so that this can allow my work to complete on time. So having done that, we are going to click on the lightning icon here to start the installation. As soon as we do that, your USB stick is ready. As soon as this is completed, I'll be joining you on how to use the USB stick to install Ubuntu from scratch. There are a lot of approaches to installing a Linux operating system. You can either install from a bootable CD or a USB stick. You can as well install from on the network. However, I'll be taking an installation from the perspective of a USB stick here, that is a live USB here. I want to believe you have your USB stick preloaded with your operating system image, either as a live USB or as a bootable CD. So here I'm going to continue from the process of loading the operating system into your personal computer. As you can see, the USB diskette or key USB hard disk is highlighted, already set as the first bootable device. So if I restart this system, I'll be booting straight into my live USB stick. Let's get into that. Okay, here, depending on the model of your personal computer, you can run any key combination to load your boot menu from the boot manager and the BIOS setup. As you can see on my screen, I'm going to be booting my operating system from the USB drive, which is the Sun Cruiser Blade. So I'll select that. From here, I'll be running into the grub, which is the ground unified bootloader, which outlines whatever actions you want to perform on the boot device. Here, you specify what action you want to take concerning the operating system. I can either try Ubuntu or install Ubuntu, as the case may be. So here, I'm going to install Ubuntu. Okay, at this point, what we have on our screen is a welcome screen. It's a wizard that takes you through a process of installing Ubuntu afresh. So the first step is to select language. For Nigeria, here we're going to be picking English. And then here I'm going to check the install third-party software for graphics and Wi-Fi hardware and other media. So I'm going to check that option and then continue. There's a prompt to force a UEFI installation. We'll be talking about that later in a subsequent video, but at this point all you need to do is just continue in the UEFI mode. Okay, from the prompt on the screen, we are going to select our installation type. We can either decide to erase Ubuntu and reinstall. We can as well install Ubuntu alongside an existing software, an existing operating system, which is an Ubuntu. We can either erase the disk and install a fresh Ubuntu, and we can do something else. So for the sake of this video, I'll be doing something else so that we can further see what options are available for us to customize our system. The prompt we have here is the prompt where we get to set the type of file system we want on a hard drive, the amount of space we want to allocate to hard drive. If you're having an existing operating system, for instance, you are moving from a Windows operating system to Ubuntu, or you want to run, you want to dual boot your system, you want to have a Windows 7 or Windows 8 as the case may be alongside Ubuntu, you can come into this particular mode and manually customize your partition. You can either shrink a volume to get additional space, or you can decide to just manipulate the hard drive, but you just have to know what you want to do. This is my hard drive, and there are so many information on the screen. As you can see the device type here. So at this point you see /dev/sda, indicating that we have just one physical hard drive on this system. However, it is divided into several partitions, so you can observe from the chart here, a legend is also shown beneath it. I have up to about 11 different partitions here on this hard drive. So I'll be showing you the breakdown of allocation of space to each of the partitions I made and for what purpose. So here I have the type of the file system, I have the mount point. I'm going to check if I'm to click for it to format the files system size, and the system properties is also highlighted on this tab. So at this point I'm going to clear out each of the space on this drive and start a fresh installation, so you can see how to allocate each of these sizes, each of this partition, and what purpose you want to use the partition. So I'm clearing this out, this as well. You can see the size of free space I have here continues to increase as I shrink the volume by deleting each of the existing partitions. You can also see here it's giving a graphical illustration of what is happening on my hard drive. I've wiped off the boot partition, I've wiped off the swap area, wiped off my root partition, and this is what I'm doing currently. I'm also wiping it off. As I wipe each of the partitions, you see it's being cleared off from here. The best practice is that you back up your hard drive before making such kind of moves on your hard drive. Okay, you have successfully removed all the space apart from this partition, which is NTFS. Okay, so right now we're going to select what we want to do with this partition. So I'm picking the first partition. I'll allocate that to my boot. So for my boot with 512 MB, I'll be good for the boot partition. So this boot partition will be mounted on the boot directory. It will contain my Linux files, and of course it's a logical partition, and it's starting at the beginning of this page. You can see the fourth extended journaling file system is selected. The fourth extended journaling file system shows you that it supports journaling. The maximum size of file that can be created in this file system is 16 terabytes of file size and up to 1 exabyte of system volume. So the mount point for this partition is boot. So like I said, contains the Linux files, the boot files. So if I allocate that to the drive, it's implemented on the storage. You can see what I have here. You can see it's checked for formatting, and I have 512 MB allocated to that. Then I'll pick on the free space again and do some other allocation. So basically your choice of partition here, you're going to do some basic mathematics here. 1024 megabyte makes a gigabyte. So if you want an exact size, you want a precise allocation, so you want to pick 50 gigabytes, it means you have 1024 times 50. So you can do that on your calculator and put that value on the system. Whatever value you put here is going to be what part of the physical drive will be allocated to that logical partition. So for the next partition I want to pick here, I'm going to effect my root directory. So it is my root directory that holds my software updates and information about my system as I go. So my root directory is very important. So you need to allocate as much space to this particular volume too. So for this video, I'm going to select about 50 gig. So I have 1024 times 50. You can do the mathematics and put that. So I'm gonna have 51200. So that is approximately 50 gigabytes. So, and it's a logical partition, of course. It's beginning at this space, which is I'm using it, and I've selected my file system. So let me do a quick one on this file system. We have the third extended file system. So, and we also have the second extended. The second extended is like the earliest version of the file system that is obtained. And then we have the butter file system, and then we have file allocation table. You can see the different file systems there. So the functionalities provided by this file system is dependent on the maximum size of file that can be created, as well as the maximum size of volume you can have. So on the partition, my mount point for this is root, which is slash. So this is my root directory. Next partition I'm going to create at this point is my /usr partition. So the /usr stores system utilities. So you have to allocate as much space to this. So for this purpose, I'm going to use 20 gig. So I have 1024 times 20. So I have these are approximately 20 gig, and my mount point USR, and so on and so forth. So we'll continue that for /opt, which is for application files, /var, which is a log file, as well as our home directory that contains the user's file. So having done that, we're going to allocate for /tmp, and the /tmp also contains temporary files. So as we make progress, we'll keep allocating each of the free space to different directory. Okay, so having completed our installation, this is what we're going to have here. So our Ubuntu is up. Today we have been able to establish what a Linux operating system is and how to install a Linux operating system from scratch till it's up and running.